Hello, I'm Mayor Skip Hall, and welcome to my Council Conversation Show. In Surprise, public safety is a top priority. We pride ourselves on being a safe, clean, and friendly community. City Council recently approved a budget that added 18 full-time positions to address growing public safety demands. Plus, there are several building projects on the horizon that will help us continue to meet our community's needs, including 2 fire stations, a police training facility, and a new evidence center. Here with me today is Fire Medical Chief Tom Abbott and Police Chief Terry Young to talk about our public safety efforts. Welcome, Chief Young and Abbott.
Oh, thank you for having us.
You bet, you bet. You know, I, along with the rest of the council, have been very vocal about budget priorities and how they ensure that we keep our city safe and secure in the next growth cycle. I think we're on track. So that's what I kind of wanted to talk to you about. Chief Young, let's start with you. You have created a community immersion with our police department, and thank you for that. I really appreciate that.
We have an amazing group of men and women, as you know. So.
Yes, very, very amazing. So what's the status of the police training facility and the public safety evidence and readiness building?
Yeah, so great questions. And you know, when we were talking about the bond projects early on, before our community members actually approved them, one of the conversations was about the timeline of these projects, and several of them build on one another. So currently under construction is the Public Works facility. That's scheduled to be done in the spring, sometime around spring of next year.
Okay.
But there's property where the new Public Safety Readiness Center and Property and Evidence Facility are going to go. That property is currently city land where our Public Works staff are working out of today.
Currently, yes.
Currently, right. So once their facility is completed in spring of next year, they will move their staff off of that location, and that's when we can actually begin construction on that project.
Okay.
And then once that project is complete, again, and kind of maximizing our dollars and our resources, the new training center is actually going to be just a refurbishment of the current evidence center. So once we get the new one built, we'll move all of the items out of the existing evidence center and then begin construction on the training facility. So that's kind of the timeline of their completion. But you know, just to reiterate the importance of those programs and just how amazing it is that we had community support for this. You know, this property and evidence facility, it's going to be at least twice in size in terms of volume. I've always said that the evidence center is kind of like the hidden hero of public safety, because people don't realize, with all the investigative efforts and the things that we do when we respond to calls and we identify bad guys and make arrests, in order for those convictions to be seen through, you have to have that evidence in place. It's got to be stored, and it's got to be stored properly.
That's right.
And right now our facility is really
cramped.
Really cramped, right, great word. And so this will give us the ability for years into the future to make sure that we're able to store those items of evidence and store them appropriately.
Great.
And then the training facility is just, training is such an important component of policing. As you know, and we've talked about this a lot in the past, it's not just about having men and women with blue uniforms and badges. It's about having properly trained men and women that police this city the way they need to be policed, and that comes through training. And so this facility gives us the opportunity to have scenario-based simulators and things that we just don't have access to consistently today. And so it will really increase the quality of that training that we can provide every day.
And weren't we paying the city of Phoenix for some of that when we did scenario training and stuff? Weren't they going down to Phoenix?
So there's a lot of different external resources that we would have to use to get that kind of training, and oftentimes there could be fees with that, sure.
Sure.
And probably worse than that is just the limited availability and not able to do it as consistently as we would like.
Right, right. Another great topic is distracted driving.
Could we get to talk about traffic?
And the texting and driving, and oh boy. But thanks to you and your efforts, we as the city of Surprise kind of paved the way for a lot of other cities, and then the state finally took it up, and they made some adjustments. Can you talk about that? What effect has it done for your Drive Wise program?
Gosh, absolutely, Mayor. I love talking about this topic, as you know. And I appreciate you talking about the efforts that the police department put into this, but truly it's the leadership of you, our mayor, and our council approving an ordinance before the state made any laws to help us combat this. But you mentioned our Drive-Wise Surprise program, so let me back up just a minute, because I think that's so important. You know, your opening statement was about our focus on public safety here in the city, and it's one of the things I'm most proud of, not just the efforts of the police department, but working for a city where truly that is a top priority. And so, as you know, I have this opportunity to move around our city and talk to folks, and our community members have made it clear to me and city leaders that traffic safety is a top public safety priority for them. And so with that in mind, we started looking at how we could best address that, and that's when the Drive-Wise Surprise campaign was born. And that's more than just an enforcement effort. That's really a partnership that we create with a community, like we do on many things, where we're creating a culture through social media, through signs out in the city, through interactions that we're having and conversations every day. And we're creating a safer driving culture where everybody that comes in and through our city knows we take this seriously. And when you drive in Surprise, you need to do it safely, and you need to pay attention. We just want everybody to be able to get from where they're at to where they're going and do it safely.
Right.
And so through education and all of that information that we put out, and certainly some additional enforcement, we have made more traffic stops than we were once upon a time, and we're writing more citations, appropriately so.
Right.
But all of that has started having a calming impact on our traffic in Surprise, and we're seeing collisions reduce or level out from what we were seeing in years prior. And then this opportunity to really get our hands on this distracted driving thing. And I think our ordinance was exceptional. It's not just limited to talking on the phone or texting on the phone. It's not just limited to a phone. It's limited to any portable communication device you might have in your hand.
Right.
And as a city, we're saying you can't have that in your hand while you're operating a car on our roadway, and that just makes sense. And so since we've incorporated that into our broader Drive-Wise Surprise program, we really have seen, so once upon a time we were seeing collisions increase at 4, 6, 8, 10% per year. In that first year we saw a dip in about 1%. In 18 last year we saw it climb back up a little, but we're seeing more population in the city as well, so maybe a 4 or 5% increase. But so far through July of this year, we're seeing that steady out, level from last year or even a little bit down. So the line, as we continue to grow and put more cars on the road,
So you're bending it.
we're not seeing it go this way, we're seeing that level out. So we're really having positive results. And again, I think we have, our community really is a big part of that.
Yep. Yeah, that culture that you talked about, Chief, it's a biggie.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
So we have, you know, what's really neat is we have so many residents that request hosting events with the police department, which is really neat. I mean, I've heard about it all the time, just like the thing we did at Raising Cane.
Right, coffee with a cop.
Coffee with the cop, you know. And I had a couple of people come to me and say, how can we host something? We really want to show our appreciation. Well, we have policies regarding that, right, Chief? So could you elaborate on that?
We do, and I have to tell you, it's one of the just amazing things about this community. We have such a great relationship with our community, and the support that we get every day is just incredible. And so we're happy to have hosted events, and we can schedule those through our community relations team. But oftentimes they want to be so generous, and they want to offer free food, free meals, free merchandise to our officers, and that's one of those things we don't want to start going down that road. So the primary consideration is, even though their hearts are in the right place, is let's partner up, let's get together, let's bring the community in and have conversations, but we really, as much as they're appreciated, we can't accept the offers of free food or free items as part of that. Right.
How can our residents become more engaged with the police department?
Oh, great question. First of all, they're already so engaged, right? But that's a question that we do get a lot. And as you know, if you come into our police lobby, you'll see words on the wall, right? The police are the public, and the public are the police. Right. And that means so many things. And so there's so many ways for the public to be part of the overall public safety picture. And all the way from the extreme end, we have our Citizens Patrol program, which you're aware of, and is just dynamite. We have 65 volunteers, and they come in and they go through an academy, and they wear a uniform, and they go out and do specific tasks that help with public safety that way. So that's something that through our website they could look at and get involved in if they were interested in. If they're a youth, somewhere between 15 and 20 years old, they could get involved in our Volunteer Explorer program, which starts preparing them for some leadership roles in life, whether it's public safety or otherwise. But I would say more importantly in the bigger picture is this, because many of us just don't have the time to give like that. But if you really want to be involved in public safety and help the police department, that the police are the public and the public are the police philosophy is really important. So you don't have to actively get out and do something as much as just take responsibility for your own safety and the safety of those around you. And what I mean by that is just
you see something, say something.
Lock your doors, right? First of all, lock your doors, put your belongings away. See something, say something is such an important conversation right now, especially as you know with what's going on around the world.
Right.
But see something, say something, get involved, give us a call, let us know what's going on, let us come take a look and see what's happening and make sure that we're all safe and we have an opportunity to check out things that may not look right to you. And don't be shy about doing that. If you find yourself asking, should I call? Yeah, pick up the phone and just call us. But I really think to be part of the public safety picture and help the police department, those are the most important things. You don't have to actually get up and go out and do something. See something, say something, take care of your own safety, lock your doors, keep your belongings put up safely, pay attention to what's going on around you.
You know, it's a funny thing, isn't it, Chief? We've talked about this in the past many times. There's this feeling of safety in the city of Surprise, so there is a tendency to drop your guard, leave your car unlocked. You're in a shopping center, just leave the car unlocked. What the heck? You know, we're in a safe city.
Great point.
But the property crimes, that's where, you know, people not locking their car doors, leaving their car running. I know a guy in Surprise a couple weeks ago left his car running while he ran into the house to get something, and somebody stole his car while it was running.
That quick. Yeah.
And now they got the car back. You know, I don't know what condition it was in. I didn't ask him that.
we enjoy such a safe city, and one of the unintended consequences there is, just like you said, it's apathy. We just start feeling like we don't have to pay attention, and we really do. We really do. Close your garage. Yeah, and I'm guilty of that all the time at home, and I know better, but I do it. But yeah, we got to close our garage doors and lock our doors. As you said, about 95% of our crime here in the city is property crime.
Yeah.
But we, as the police department for this city, we always talk about we are your police. We're here to help you, and we don't want you to be a victim, because even though it may just be golf clubs that are taken out of your garage, and we call that a property crime, but it affects somebody.
Sure.
It makes you feel less safe, and we really don't want to see anybody fall victim to that. So if we can follow, all of us, just together, some of those very simple steps, closing those doors, locking them up, we can really go a long way to help preventing from being part of that.
I agree. Are there any upcoming events, Chief, that you'd like people to know about?
Oh, absolutely. So every year, as you know, we have our GAIN event, which is getting Arizonans involved in neighborhoods. So this is going to be Saturday, October 26th, and a great event. Every year it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, but it's such a great opportunity to bring the families out. Community members come from all over the city. Our police department's there, our fire department, members of Public Works.
It's a lot of fun.
Oh, it's a lot of demonstrations and displays and food, and just really a great annual opportunity for all of us to get together, get to know one another, and share some conversations about public safety as we've been talking about here today.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah,
yes,
I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you. Chief Abbott.
Yes, sir.
So when it comes to surprise statistics, what are the calls? How do the calls break out? Medical, fire, the whole. You have a report every month you do, which is a very good report, by the way, Chief. Thank you.
Well, thank you, sir. It's one of our battalion chiefs, Chief Spurlong, that's responsible for the monthly report. And he does an incredible job in putting that together. He compiles a lot of data to put it together. We break it out by council, district, et cetera. But going back to your question, it's a great question. We field that question on a regular basis. It continues to, our call volume continues to run at around 76% medical calls, emergency medical calls.
Oh, okay.
So far this year, the trend is holding fairly consistent. As of a couple days ago, on the 12th, our call volume is right at about 10,900 incidents for the year thus far inside the city of Surprise.
10,900
so far, and of those, about 15%, it's roughly 1,500 calls, somewhere in there. It's actually a little less than that, are fall injuries. And then our next...
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah.
About the assisting when people fall down. You know.
Correct. And but the fall injuries it's kind of misleading to an extent, in the sense that a fall injury, when it's reported, Could also be somebody fell because they had a heart attack,
right.
a stroke,
True.
etc. They tripped over a curb.
Yep.
Is the natural kind of tendency to think, well, that's what happened. Well, it could be for a variety of reasons. But a fall injury is by far our leading incident. But our top 5 incidents are all medical related. Our second most common is difficulty breathing for a variety of reasons. That could be, once again, congestive heart failure. It could be asthmatics.
Right.
It could be a variety of things that call
COPD or
correct. And those types of calls account for those 2 calls, those 2 categories. Nature codes is what we refer to them as. Those 2 types of incidents, roughly about 22% of our call volume right now, at least as of this year. But the top 5, the most common, about 42% of our incidents are all medical in nature.
See, wow, okay. So let's talk about construction. I know finally we're going to build a permanent station out in North Surprise, which is very needed. I think the design's done. Can you tell us or elaborate on what's going on there, Chief?
Oh, I'd love to talk about that. Station 304 is started out when I first became your fire chief back in May of 2014. Was just barely north of Grand on 163rd Avenue, right, on the east side of the road. And it was a small manufactured home with a canvas awning that covered the fire truck.
Right.
And shortly after I started, then there was a new double-wide manufactured home that was put up north, about Happy Valley and 163rd, with a metal-clad building put over the fire truck, but nonetheless still no bay doors, is wide open, which in itself presents a lot of security issues, et cetera. And this is now the 17th year of us operating out of a temporary fire station. And we are extremely grateful to the community, the voters, the support of the mayor and council, city manager's office, Public Works, the finance department, everybody that's been involved with helping us get through this process, and the voters for voting for the bond. Now we're able to build a new station, and that's going to be down at San Ysidro and 163rd. So somewhere in between Grand and Happy Valley, and it's going to be on the west side of the road. They're actually moving dirt today a little bit, and they're getting ready to put the construction trailer in within the next few days.
Okay.
And but the permits have been pulled. It's gone through planning and zoning. We're ready to go, and I think you're going to see a new state-of-the-art facility that's going to include, because right now there's such a big concern for cancer within firefighters. That's a very I don't want to say a hot topic, but it's a situation where we're very much concerned. And what we've developed in the architectural design is off the apparatus room where the fire trucks are. When the firefighters come back from any kind of a fire situation, they'll take their turnout gear off and set it aside, and hopefully we're moving forward with
go through a cleansing.
Correct. And we're going to provide a second set of turnout gear, and they can bag up their dirty gear from the fire, and then they go inside the fire station in kind of the center area, and there'll be 4 different showers, each individual showers with locking doors, and little cubby holes and a place to hang a new clean uniform. Go in and get cleaned up.
Gotcha.
And come out of there and get a new set of uniform on, and then go put their other uniform in a washer and dryer, and then they can go into the fire station.
Great.
So we're making a lot of advancements that way, but we're looking forward to it.
When's the completion date, do you think, Chief?
We anticipate, well, it's scheduled for August of 2020, so roughly a year from now.
About a year from now, okay.
But we believe we might be able to shave off anywhere from 30 to 45 days, so maybe mid-June next year. But sooner the better.
Yeah, sooner the better. Great. Excellent. And, you know, out of that same bond, it was approved to build the new Fire Station 308.
Yes, sir.
Can you elaborate on that and tell us about the scope of that and what that means?
Yeah, Station 308 will be built on Cactus, just east of Litchfield, where the city water treatment facility, the new public works maintenance facilities being constructed right now, the part of the bond project. We'll be building Fire Station 308 there. And the benefits to that fire station are going to, what we anticipate will be approximately 1,500 to 1,600 calls a year right in that immediate area, especially as Marley Park finishes out its development phases. It's also right there in the industrial area, and we're going to move the hazard materials function, the hazard materials team to that fire station.
Okay.
So we're going to incorporate that into the design of the station. So they'll have an opportunity to have a space to calibrate their air monitoring instruments, the combustible gas instruments. They'll have a room in there to test their chemical suits, a small training room that'll incorporate in a small fume hood that you might see in a chemistry lab where they can work with some of the chemicals and maintain their skills. So we're anticipating that going part of it. But the bigger piece is the fact that we're going to have room for an ambulance, the hazard materials team, the engine company, and one other bay, and for other types of storage. But that will provide service in the southeast corner, and it'll reduce the call volume of Engine 121 from El Mirage from coming into Surprise as much as they do, keep them available for use in El Mirage.
Sure. Okay. So you've mentioned, and I've seen in the reports, 305 is the busiest fire station, correct, Chief?
Absolutely, sir.
So what are you doing addressing that to make sure the response times are tolerable?
That's another great question. Right now, this year, well, let's put it this way, since about April 15th to a couple days ago, we were at 1,125 calls, which was more than double any other fire station in Surprise.
Okay.
And so it's a fairly consistent, very busy fire station. A couple of years ago, we were awarded a SAFER grant, and we were able to hire five firefighters and put a peak time response unit engine company, Engine 305, in service, but it was for only 40 hours a week. And we realized that it took a significant load off of ladder 305 while it was in service, but it was only for 40 hours a week. And so we've come up with another concept that we hope to implement in September. It's for a low acuity unit, and we will be placing that in service in addition to the ambulance that's currently at Station 305.
Okay. Could the low acuity unit, that was my next question. Explain what a low acuity unit is and how it helps fire in their overall responses.
It's the low acuity concept is really not all that new to the metropolitan Phoenix area. Mesa Fire started that 10 years ago. But what we're going to, and there's 9 other communities right now that have what we call an LA or low acuity unit in service. And what it does is based on the algorithms that when somebody dials 911, the Phoenix Fire Department answers, well, after they go through the public safety answering point here at Surprise Police Department.
Right.
And if the incident taker determines that the incident does not involve a level of emergency that requires paramedics, then EMTs can respond to. What we're going to do with a 2-person vehicle, it's going to be a pickup truck. One of them will be a paramedic, so we're not going to shortchange anybody.
Okay.
They will have paramedic, and they will have paramedic equipment, but it'll only be 2 people on the truck. And it's, like I said, it's going to be a pickup truck, and they will respond code 2 primarily, not always, in which no lights or siren.
Okay.
And anything essentially east of the 303 or south of the 303, depending on where you're at, over to the city of El Mirage and down to our southern border on Peoria. So it's a fairly significant area, a good chunk of the urbanized area of the city of Surprise. And they will respond to calls that are determined by the alarm room to not necessarily require paramedic level service, although we'll have one paramedic that can also evaluate the patient.
Interesting.
And so that'll save us the wear and tear on the large fire truck. It will reduce it'll keep those other trucks in service and hopefully impact response times that way and reduce our call volume for some of the other trucks.
Great. Very interesting. Very interesting. I'm glad you're doing that. I think that's, you know, all of us have to be more creative, don't we?
That we do.
And as things go along in our city, we got to get smarter and have techniques and tactics that are more creative. And so I'm really happy you're doing that, Chief. And I want to thank both of you for joining me today. And I'm so happy that we've got two great leaders like you two keeping our city safe. And just appreciate you joining me today.
Well, thank you, Mayor.
Again, our pleasure. Thank you for inviting us on.
You bet, Chief. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you have questions or comments for me, I'd love to hear from you. You can call or email me anytime, and I welcome you to sign up for my newsletter, which is filled with the latest city news and information. To sign up, just click on the Notify Me button on my website. Thanks for watching.